Hi everyone, David Jackson here with slingandstonemarketing.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to add a countdown timer in WordPress using the Elementor Pro plugin so that you can do things like have a countdown that ends when a sale or a coupon expires, or when a product is about to be launched, or even when an event is going to start. You can also create an evergreen countdown that starts with a specific amount of time for each visitor when they first come to your website. But first, if you are new to the channel and want to learn about the tools and strategies to help you market your business online, consider subscribing and click the bell so that you'll get notified when I upload new videos. And if there are any topics you want me to cover in future videos, let me know in the comments. Now before we get started, I just want to mention that this is an Elementor Pro feature. So if you do not already have the Pro version of Elementor, I'll put a link in the description where you can check out their current pricing, and I'll also put a link in the description that will take you to a comparison table so that you can see the difference between the Pro version and the free version. And if you purchase the Pro version using my link, Elementor will give me a commission which helps support this channel at no additional cost to you. So thank you for that. And now that that's out the way, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and log into the back end of our WordPress site. And then I'm going to go over to the left and click on Pages. Now I already have a page built for this, but for you, you can either start a new page or a new post. This will work on both pages and posts. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this demo landing page that I created earlier for this demonstration. That's going to load up our Elementor editor. So this is a page that I created just using one of Elementor's pre-made templates. So when you create a new page, you can go into their templates and you can pick one that works for you, and you can import it in and it will just load up for you within the editor. But what I want to do is I want to add a countdown timer to this landing page, and I want it to go right above the email. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a countdown in there as if I'm going to launch a new app, and people will be able to get on a waiting list by putting in their email here. So this email form will be used where I can collect emails for people to get put on a waiting list, and then when the app is launched, I can send them all an email and maybe a special coupon code so that they can get the app at a discounted price since they were interested beforehand. So I'm going to come over here to the left and I'm going to scroll down and grab the countdown widget and bring that on over and put it right above the email. Alright, so then this brings up our options for the countdown. And as you can see here, we have two different types of countdown. The default is the due date, and that is the countdown will continue counting down to a specific date and time, which you can set here under the due date. You can just pick the day, set the time, and that will be based on your current time zone that you set up in the general settings of your WordPress site. The other type is the evergreen timer, and what this does is it starts a countdown from a specific amount of hours and minutes that you set. So here we can see that it's 47 hours and 59 minutes. So that means that when somebody comes to this landing page, the timer will start down at that time for them. Now this is good for, like, let's say if you want to give everyone the same amount of time to take advantage of a promotion that you might have going on. So like, let's say that you want to give them 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever to take advantage of a promotion that you have, whether it's like a sale on an ebook that's going on, and first time visitors will be able to take advantage of a promotion, a little discount on that ebook. And so they'll come to this landing page, they'll see the timer going down, and if they leave your website and come back, the timer will still be counting down from the first time that they went to your landing page. So this is good to create even more urgency for each individual visitor, regardless of when they come to your website. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the due date, since I'm using this landing page as an example of showing when I'm going to launch my new phone app, and we'll just go through the settings from there. So once you have your due date set, you can come down to the view, and you have an option of viewing it in as a block or in line, which puts the days, hours, and minutes in line with the countdown numbers. But I like to have it as the block, especially since I don't have a lot of space. Then you have options to show the days, hours, minutes, or seconds. If your timer is going to be long enough to where you're going to have days, you might as well show the days, otherwise it can be deceiving. I like to have all of them showing unless I know that it's less than 1 day. Like for example, if I have the evergreen timer and I'm only putting setting the timer for 12 hours or something like that, then there's no need to use the days. But you can go ahead and set it up for the way that you want it. And then we'll come down to the show label, which takes away the hours, days, minutes, and seconds. I like to keep it on so that people know that it's actually 30 days and they just won't wonder what these numbers mean. It'll actually tell them. And then if you want to have a custom label, you can do that here. So if you don't want it to say days or hours, or if you want to abbreviate the minutes to just min, then you can do that as well. The next thing we have is the actions that will take place after the timer expires. So you have a couple of options here. You can redirect the person to another page. So like, let's say that, this is a landing page, and then once the countdown hits 0, then anybody else coming to this landing page could get redirected to another page that either tells them that they missed out on the sale, but you can add your email to your email list, and they'll get notified when you have another sale going on. Or you can just redirect people to the product page itself, but they won't be able to take advantage of a sale. You can also do things like just hide the countdown once it hits 0, so that somebody else who comes to this landing page afterwards won't realize that they missed out on something. The countdown will just disappear and they won't even know that it was there. Or you can show a message. So you can put in a little custom message here that tells them that maybe they missed out, but they can still put their email in the form below, and you can notify them on maybe some other products that they might be interested in. So you can put whatever it is that you want for there if you want any of those actions to occur. But I'm going to move on to the style. And this is where we get to change the look and feel of our countdown timer. We can change the width. This is in the percentages, or we can set a specific pixel width. This is 100%, so it's taking up the total amount of space that is given to it. We can change the background color to whatever we like. We can use the hashtag here. We can change the opacity if we wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at this. We can put a border around each box if we wanted to. So if I use like 2 pixels, and we can change the color of the border to whatever we want. So you can kind of play around with that. I'm just going to go ahead and take the border off. We can change the spacing between each box using the slider, or we can just put in the number here. We can add or take away padding around the numbers and the countdown. So if I did something like 10 all around, or we can unlink the values and we can have just the top be 20 and each of the sides, the top and the bottom be 20, each of the sides be 10. Then we could take a look at the content. and we can change the color of the digits. So the numbers here, we can go ahead and choose whatever color we want. I'm just gonna keep it as white. We can change the typography. We have the font families, what's already installed on your system. Then we have all of these different Google fonts that you can use. Elementor Pro allows you to upload custom fonts. So if you uploaded any custom fonts, you can add that. That will show up here as well. You can change the size of the numbers. So if you're working with a limited amount of space, you can change the size so it will be able to fit nicely and still look good. This will also help with checking what it looks like on mobile and tablet devices. So like, let's say if I go to a tablet, you can see that it still looks pretty good, but if I go to mobile, it looks like it's not quite fitting. So in this case, I will go over to typography for the mobile, change the sizes there. Probably go back up to boxes and change the space in between to be a little bit less, and then get rid of some of this padding. So like, let's say maybe if I did 5. All right, so that looks a little better. Whoops, there. All right. So you can do things like that. You can play around with it, get it looking just the way that you want it to look. All right, I'm going to go back to the desktop, back to content, and then you have your other typography settings, the font weight. You can do transforming, have it uppercase, lowercase, change it to italic or oblique. You can use decorations, have it be underlined, or have a line through it. All different types of things that you can just go through and you can see it happen in real time. Then we have the label, which are the days, hours, and minutes. We have the same options here where we can change the color and we can also change the typography. So everything that we have for the digits, we can also do for the labels as well. So next I'm going to go to the advanced, and here we can change the margin around the counter. So if I put 10 there, see it adds a 10 pixel margin all the way around our counter. But I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And of course you can unlink them and give a different value for each side of the counter as well if you wanted to. Same thing with our padding. We still can unlink them and put whatever values we want there. The z-index you really won't have to worry about unless you are going to change the positioning of this and you don't want it to hide behind or get overlaid with some other elements that are on the page. The CSS IDs and the CSS classes, those are pretty advanced for people who know and understand what CSS coding is. So if you don't know what CSS rules are and you don't know what classes and IDs are, don't even worry about those fields. Next, we can add motion effects to this. So as someone is scrolling down a page, once this element is going to enter the page, we can have it do all different types of scrolling effects so that when the person is scrolling, different things can happen. You can change the transparency, the blur, all of these things here. You can play around with them and play around with their settings, and it'll show in real time what it looks like as you're scrolling. But I'm going to turn that off. And then the same thing with the mouse effect. So as the mouse moves around the page, you can have different things happen with your timer. See, as you can see here, it's moving around there. So you can just play around with it and see what's best for you. The next thing is the sticky. So if we want our timer to continue to stay on the page and have it be displayed at the top of the page so that when someone scrolls down, then our timer stays at the top of the page. And this is where the z-index will come in handy, because you can see that as I scroll down, there are other elements on the page which could overlap the timer if they have a higher Z index than my timer does. So you want to make sure that that you preview it, that you make sure that there's nothing that's going to overlap your timer if you want it to stay as a sticky. Then you have different entrance animations that you can use. So again, you can just continue to check each of these out, see which ones you like, and set it for that. Next we have the background. Whoops. Let me go back up here. You have the background. So you can have just a regular classic background with a solid color. Right here is just in between the spaces. Now if I had padding, then you would also see it around the edges of our timer. I'm going to go ahead and just clear that. You can also create a gradient. So if you choose two different colors, you can see here it's going from one color to another. Let me clear that. And of course you can also add an image. If you want to add a border around the entire countdown timer, you can do that here. You can choose what kind of border type you want. You can also put a border radius and a box shadow. These are settings that will show for normal, and then you can also change it to different settings for when the mouse hovers around your countdown timer as well. Next we have the positioning. So again, you can just play around with it, see what each one does, pick whichever one it is that that you want to have for your landing page or for your blog post. And the next thing we have is responsive. So like, let's say for instance, I didn't want anyone to see this timer on the mobile device. So I only want to show this countdown for people who come to my landing page on the tablet or on the desktop. So what I would do is I would just hide this on just the mobile, and then that way if I were to close this, there you can see that due to the responsiveness it is hidden on the mobile device. Whereas if I go to the tablet and close that, it still shows up, and it will also show up on the desktop. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that on show because I want people to be able to see it. The next thing we have are attributes. Again, this is some pretty advanced stuff, so if you aren't familiar with this, don't worry about trying to use this field. It's for advanced users only. The same thing with the custom CSS. Alright, so once you're done and you've gone through and you've created all of the different styles and you have it looking just the way that you want, you can go ahead and preview your changes. So this will bring up the preview page, and you can see here that I have my landing page template that I have. There's my counter. It's counting down to a specific date, and it looks good. I didn't make any changes or have it do anything like stay sticking at the top of the page, but for you, if that's what you want to have happen, you can do that as well. Once you like the way that it all looks, you can go ahead and close the preview page and then come down here to the bottom, and it'll probably say publish for you if you created a new page. Since this page was already created and published, I'm just going to click on update, and that basically saves everything for me. Thank you so very much for taking your time to watch this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe. And if you followed along and were able to get a countdown timer going on your website, leave a comment below using the hashtag GiantSlayer. And until next time, go out and slay some giants.